Let's unpack this further now with the Minister of Electricity and Energy, Dr. Kgosientsho Ramokgopa. Minister, good evening. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. You have promised South Africa that you'll rebuild our energy output almost twice over in the next 13 years. You've also promised us a 14,000-kilometer transmission line, which you've just come back from Asia talking to some pre-approved bidders for. Why is microgridding a solution if all that big stuff has been promised to us?
Oh, good evening. Thank you very much, Oliver. Good evening to the viewers at home. Remember, we always talk about the mix, so it's a combination of various energy sources, but we also do accept that it is exponentially expensive to connect far remote rural villages where you don't have the right densities. The unit cost, it's almost double what we spent in the more dense urban areas. So we needed to find a solution on how best to quickly connect these communities and more cost effectively. And of course, there's been significant progress in the technology, on the technology front, solar PV, and also a combination of battery. So we're using the latest technologies to ensure that we are able to harvest our renewable energy endowment. So it's the sun that we're harvesting in that part of the country. The irradiation levels is of excellent quality, and therefore the returns are such that it makes a strong commercial case for us to deploy microgrids there. You don't have to build expansive and extensive transmission infrastructure because the source of energy generation is close to consumption. So we're eliminating the length of time it takes to build the transmission lines and the cost associated with building those transmission lines. So it's quicker, it's cost effective, and it's also green electrons that we are introducing into the grid. And that's the significance of Madimbo, and it's also scalable. So as and when demand grows, as more households are going to be built, houses rather are going to be built, will simply scale up. So we are now at 1 megawatts. We're going to go to 4 megawatts. We've got scope to go up to 15 megawatts. So this is the right place for us to deploy this technology, Oliver.
Yeah, my understanding of microgridding is that it's in low quantities. I understand it to be anything less than 10 megawatts, really. Otherwise, you're talking about expansion into what could be considered a megagrid. But I also understand it to be decentralized. That is to say, not connected to the main national or provincial grid, and that it's isolated on its own. Let's talk about distill that for us and then crystallize it for us as a cost on a cost per project basis using this case study.
Well, firstly, that yes, you're absolutely correct. So almost islanded from the rest of the grid. Of course, our primary source of energy is the sun. So if you look at what is the principal cost driver in the tariff, it is the cost of primary energy, and it is essentially the cost of coal that is driving the cost of electricity. Now the sun is the sun. The sun has got the same value today, tomorrow, going into the future. So it means that the cost of the primary energy is fixed. And I did make the point that the cost of primary energy could be up to 45% of the tariff. So we're fixed the 45%. So that's the one thing. And then the second one is that because we are not building long transmission lines, we are going to reduce what we call technical losses. Yeah. The longer you transport the electrons, the greater the chance of losing those electrons as you are transporting them to the point of consumption. So we're going to eliminate the part. So
my understanding also is that you also don't need a utility as an intermediary to make microgridding work. What is the application of that in this case?
Yes, so we really don't need a utility. So in this instance, we don't need the big transmission that comes with the ESCOM. We don't necessarily need the more extensive reticulation infrastructure that is deployed at municipalities, because really what you're doing is that you are generating at the point of consumption. So if you like, in theory, it can be what we call the behind-the-meter intervention. So it's more like your solar PV at home, inverter and battery, but we are doing it on a larger scale. So as you make the point in your introductory remarks, now it's 600 households, but we can scale it up. And you're making a valid point that it really doesn't become commercially viable once we talk huge megawatts. So in this instance, we are designed to go up to 15 megawatts, but we don't think we'll get to that scale because of the scale of consumption in that area. In the villages, even if the numbers of households were to triple in the coming year.
Minister, can you give me a rand value of the cost this was? It's 1 megawatt, and I'm trying to figure out if it's scalable to public-private partnerships, where public-private partners in certain rural areas can add resources to this. What did this cost?
I think the best computation is to do the unit cost. So the unit cost of connecting a household using the conventional means, it's anything between 70,000 to 130,000. In this instance, we've gotten it to about 65,000, and we're confident that as we perfect this solution, we are likely going to get it to below 50,000. I think the sweet spot for us, we think we can get it to 45,000. This one, it's at that higher price point, still lower than the conventional unit connection, because we have included the rollout of free Wi-Fi and also the lighting of public spaces. We think that's the route to go. So even incorporating the Wi-Fi and the lighting of public spaces, we are confident we'll get it to below 50,000. So as we move from one place to the other, we're going to perfect this, and we are confident that the unit cost will be significantly lower. So what that means is that we are able to stretch the rent for the same resource fiscal envelope. We are able to do more, and we are confident now we are going to do it much, much quicker. This one took us 4 months, and I must say that about 2 months of that 4 months was really the internal issues with the provincial government and local authorities. We'll continue to iron that out. But with regards to the physical rollout, it took us 2 months for us to put it on the ground, and today we energized it. Of course, we continue to scale it up. So yes, it's about the skill, it's about the speed, the cost, and also just the convenience of rolling out this type of infrastructure.
Yeah, so by my calculation, there was about a 50 million rand investment into the Madimbo Mavete villages. Just a very last question, 30 seconds, I'm over time terribly here. You just come back from Asia, where you spoke to potential bidders and investors around South Africa's 14,000 kilometer grid expansion to expand our transmission lines. How did that go?
Well, we're visiting the manufacturers of the components that will go into the rollout of transmission, because there's going to be a requirement for localization. And I'm happy to announce that the firms that we have visited have made a firm commitment. We have identified the site here in Gauteng. We'll be building those transformer manufacturing capability, so that we get people into jobs. And on the back of the transmission project, we are able to ensure that there's skills that are introduced into the South African economy. We get more people into jobs. So it's not about the electrons on the grid, it's also about the economic growth and fighting unemployment and poverty.
Yeah, of course. And of course, we're ending the year off, and I just want you to give us the last figure on that EAF as we close off 2025.
Oh, we're still averaging close to 70%, and in fact, we've got a number of units on cold reserve. Cold reserve means that we are pulling them back because we are over-generating. We're in an excellent space. So what we need to do is to get the economy going, and the conversations with the smelters will give us real and tangible results on the back of this excellent performance.
Yeah. Minister, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. There you have it from the Minister of Electricity and Energy. Eskom is overproducing electricity. That means too much electricity at a 70% energy availability factor.